Hello there, traveler, and welcome back to the world of Zyathe. This is our campaign set in the world created by the brave adventurers over at Gooey Cube. I am Alexander, your weaver of tales, and as always, I'm joined by my companions, Dylan, John, and Cassie. Before we begin, is there anything anyone would like to say? Cassie?
Yes. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I seem to have a cursed dice tray, so I got a new one.
I think you're just cursed.
I hope
I
it's
don't
not
think
me.
it's a dice tray problem.
I really
This isn't
hope it's not
really.
me.
This is a good Dumbo moment. The curse was inside you the whole time.
The curse was inside you.
Please do not put that on me. So here's to hoping for better rolls tonight, guys.
Another thing is we have a brand new intro for
We do.
for this whole Gooey Cube series. So
So good.
I don't believe
We
it.
get to watch it together for the first time. You,
Prove it.
and us.
Prove it.
So
Prove it, yeah.
Without further ado, hang up your cloak, grab a drink, and sit back as we dive back into Chapter 1 of the Red Star Rising campaign, The Darkest Dream.
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do.
All right.
Oh, it's so
Welcome
good.
back.
Leave in the comments down below. What did you think of that intro? Because we thought it was pretty good.
All right. So
Where were we?
you guys continued your rounds around Carnivalle. You went through the illusion tents. There were some animals that somehow got lost in there that were causing a little bit of a problem. You dealt with them. And upon leaving, you were given your first apprentice ring. Vestia and Skizig are your mentors as your time as a wizard. And
My first?
First.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
no.
Spoiler.
Maybe there's more to come. I don't know.
Spoiler. Spoiler alert.
But
Leave in the comments down below if you thought that was a spoiler. I'm sorry, that one was just too good. It was like,
You think that was a spoiler? Smash that like button.
make sure to tell us what you thought about that one.
John, you're so much.
anyways, where
Oh, man.
our group then continued on, dealt with a little scuffle at the gambling tents, and finally found the culprit behind this terrible, terrible alcohol that was left around that they've heard in rumors, and they found near the wagons of
Stoof.
near
Stoof's tent.
Yeah.
Those rascals trying to poison us.
So you did find them. They were selling their moonshine. You told them to leave. They didn't. A little bit of a scuffle. And then you took their... how'd this go again?
You took their money.
Well, no. Well, yeah. But we
Hold on.
we took them like on their cart out into like the open field near where we fought those
The bandits that tried to
thugs.
kill the priest.
Yes, and then we dumped their horrible alcohol like all over them.
Yeah,
They are flammable, so please beware.
Don't
Well,
worry.
the sun doesn't get too hot today.
No kidding.
Well, it's the end of the day. They should be fine.
Dry weather.
Let's hope,
It's a
no
dry heat.
let's hope no crazy fire elemental comes out of those woods.
Yeah. There's no of those weird fire squirrels in this forest.
Fire squirrels.
It happens.
So anyways.
Horrifying that would be.
Oh man.
This was the last full day of Carnival. Tomorrow, there's a little bit left for you to do. But the sun is going down. You have made your rounds. You have protected Carnival to the best of your ability. And now the townies are heading home. You stand around the entrance, walk around, make sure that no one's trying to stay after hours. You just keep an eye on everything, everyone packing up their goods for the night. And when all the townies are around, tent fire. A special time where you, as the Hanatas, all meet at the end of every day, especially at the end of full days of Carnival. discuss stories, tell tales bold, drink, laugh, be merry. And before any of that kicks off, Ostrich,
I do have a question. Who do we give the money to that we earned for the carnival?
you would be giving that to Borag and Count Messi.
Good.
So, you, Ostrich,
You, Ostrich?
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 Senesi comes and grabs you. It is time.
Promise whatever I did, it wasn't me.
It's time for you to help her and friend and her enemy
I'm pumped.
cook for the troop for the 10 fire. So, Ostrich, being a growing chef, a growing cook for the Hanataz, Senesi promised you something very special tonight. You would choose what the troop eats.
All right.
So,
So, a lot of pressure.
it takes
It'd
you
be a shame if
to,
you failed.
to her wagon.
All right, what am I working here? Stop. What we got meat-wise? We got venison, we got
You
bear.
got-
What we got?
Almost everything you could imagine.
Don't
got fresh
forget
pork.
Our vegan friends?
No. I actually have.
There is fresh pork.
So-
there was a boar, but that is manticore food. That is manticore food.
Fresh pork's so good.
Too
I
tough.
actually do have vegan options in this cookbook I've prepared for my character
Oh.
because
Mm,
because I was,
spicy.
and I also have a drinks thing because I asked everyone, what does your character like? All right, so let's see. What is the general consensus? Is everyone want like breakfast for dinner? Everyone hungry for something hearty? We want like soup bread, classic tavern? What we think? What's the camp consensus?
I will say, you go around.
Because I know everyone has a different preference.
Give me a list of options.
List of
actually.
options.
Yeah, give everyone a list of options.
Like a vibe check.
yeah.
Gonna need a menu.
Yeah, menu. All right.
So you quickly kind of just walk around as people are putting their things up. You're walking up to every tent, just making sure that everything's kind of in a place to where no townies that are ne'er-do-wells
Hey!
can come and mess us
You're
up.
too nasty. Spell dancers don't like it. Get out of here.
But you walk around and talk to those of your troop, your family. What are these options?
All right, breakfast options. It's called the Hanataz Breakfast Special. It's served with sugar cube, cured ham, scrambled eggs, breakfast potatoes, bacons, and sausage. Or they get the option of homemade biscuits and gravy, made with buttermilk biscuits,
Okay.
and a sausage roux.
Okay.
If they're looking for something more lunch, there's a couple stew or chili options. It's called Dragon Stew. It's made with a rice noodle, thin sliced beef, and pork belly. It's got a poached egg that's in it, and it's made spicy with a broth.
How many votes do we get? 1 or 2?
Uh,
or 3?
Up to you. I'll
Okay.
take whatever I can. There's also a forest stew, I call it, whatever meat that is outside of a normal domesticated animal. It's served with freshly caught wild mushrooms, carrots, potatoes, and a roll. If we're looking more for a dinner vibe, also have to consider how long does this take, because I have a lot of options. It take multiple days to cure and get ready. So.
You've got a couple hours.
Yeah. All right. Classic chili, ostrich chili, made spicy, fresh cornbread, made cast iron. It's got beans, it's got noodles, it's got meat, multiple types of beans, pinto, kidney, red, black, elbow noodles, straight, frozen, whatever type of noodles you could want. And then
Beans and chili?
yeah,
I got that before.
it's good. I promise. I could also do fried catfish with a myriad of side options.
I'm very impressed.
You worked really hard on this menu,
It took
you guys.
it took me a week to accumulate all this stuff. What are the sides?
Anything
Besides,
sounds
I can
more
do green beans with bacon, baked beans with bacon, baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, thin potato slices, okra, fried okra, ale battered onion rings.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do.
You're like
I want you to pick 3 options.
3 options. All right.
Breakfast better be on the list.
Because at this point, everyone would have a different pick.
So the Hanata's breakfast special
Okay.
is the breakfast option.
All right.
For lunch is the forest stew.
Okay.
And then if they want a whole dinner vibe, then it's ostrich chili with cast iron cornbread. And then I have something prepared for Leaf off the top of my head. I can make you a freshly made tofu substitution of chili. So you get all the benefits of chili just with tofu and a specific cornbread that is made without milk or eggs. Breakfast
Sounds good.
special.
I was about to say, did you have like a
tofu.
A Leaf special?
Yes, I actually do. For lunch, I have for Leaf Leaf's Travelable. It is buttered noodles with garlic, parsley, butter, and cheese.
So
yeah.
Natalia and Leaf, you are the first two that are consulted over.
They're always the first.
Yeah,
We also have
over
dessert
this.
options that we will discuss later.
So go ahead. Have that conversation.
All right, so I got the promise.
But you
to make
noticed something
dinner.
out of the... As you're about to go and address your friends.
that bird again. It's probably that bird.
Ah!
It's always that bird. It's always the bird, and then the camp
Damn
explodes.
bird. As you turn to your friend to consult what to have for dinner, Neftalia,
Yes.
as you regard the field upon which the Carnivalle was set upon, you watch the townies leave, and you get a cold and clammy feeling upon your skin. You look about, but none of your companions, whether it's Osric talking to Senesian friend, or Leaf playing with you, none of your companions seem to be experiencing that uncomfortable feeling. Then, barely audible to your ears, you hear a low cacophony of murmuring and groaning noises, as if a group of sick and forlorn folk were somewhere nearby. As you listen, the hair on the back of your neck rises as the sound intensifies. It is now coupled with the shuffling sound of feet moving through the grass nearby, closer and closer to your position. You look about, but can see nothing out of the ordinary, and none of your friends seem to hear it. Then, as quickly as the sound began, it ends. Ostrich.
Hey. I get to cook tonight. I get to pick what we have. What you want? I got breakfast options. I can make the breakfast special. I got lunch options too. I got dinner.
Listen, my vote every time is for breakfast.
Breakfast, all right. Good to know.
Yes.
Do you want dessert too, or
What kind of? Yes.
you never know? And then ostrich.
You
will
do.
Just
With me,
just
you
shuffle
do.
away. Just Sushi's like, duh. It's just.
All right.
It's more like.
You kind of look back out after Ostrich heads over to Leaf, unsure of what that feeling was. Leaf, Ostrich.
Hey. I get to cook dinner tonight. What you want?
Reckon.
You want breakfast, lunch, dinner? What you feel?
The friendly chili.
All right. I'll make it special for you, so I know you have a preference, and it's just.
All right.
Thank you.
You walk around the Carnivalle after getting your two friends their opinion. And then the opinion of the rest of the troop.
breakfast.
Majority vote wins. They want a lunch special. So, they want lunch. You can decide what that is.
Am I able to kind of like get away for just a second and kind of poke my head out? like away from the. Are we like in the big tent? Is that where we're?
No,
are we?
you're not there. You're outside, just watching as people kind of put things up.
Okay.
Close up
Okay.
for the day. You have a smaller Carnival day tomorrow, so not everything's being put up per se, but you know, a normal kind of shutdown.
Okay. Then yeah, I would like to kind of walk in the direction where I felt like my uncomfortable feeling was originating.
If you walk around, you're not getting any more of those types of vibes. But it did feel weird. It did feel weird.
Once I kind of...
You felt similarly uncomfortable as compared to when you were inside the old well.
Okay.
And you heard those voices.
And they sounded like the same voice?
It didn't sound the same.
Okay.
But the feeling you got was equally uncomfortable.
Okay.
Equally unsettling.
Once I kind of walk around and I'm not catching anything additional, I'm going to wander over to Leaf.
Okay.
Hey, do you have a minute?
Wait. Watch this.
Okay.
Katya! And then he's gonna like put like one like when you hear it, he's gonna like put the other one back and he's gonna lean forward like a bow.
Oh.
That was lovely.
What do you think?
What do you
Now
call
what's your
that?
thing? It's his ta-da.
It's just a ta-da. Okay. I wasn't sure if your special, moves had names or anything. Anyway, that's not mine.
I don't know.
So, when you had
Name's all power.
your thing earlier in the day, did you hear any of them? Actually, any of them? Did you hear any like voices?
I saw a bird. He didn't
Okay.
talk to me.
Okay.
The camp exploded.
Okay.
I saw the bird again. I saw some dolls. One looked like me. And I threw up on it. Weird tents. Buying stuff. Frog statue. Tug of war sometimes. No, I never heard no voices. I never heard any voices or anything. No murmurs or whispering, just unless you count my own. But I mean, I just do that sometimes.
And did you
Not
ever
other
feel,
voices,
like,
just me murmuring.
super uncomfortable? Like something was about to go horribly wrong, but then it just didn't.
It was more like something looked like it had horribly happened, but then it didn't. Like the camp exploding.
Right.
It didn't feel like I didn't know that was going to happen. It just did, and then it didn't. It's really weird. And then I felt nauseous, but I didn't really feel like anything bad was going to happen that time.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't. No.
Okay. Maybe they're not the same thing then. That's weird. It's just I felt the same way when I was in the well a little bit. It's just weird to happen twice. Because that was definitely obvious. The spiders
crying.
and all the stuff. That was definitely creepy and weird. But we're just clearing out. That doesn't seem like weird.
It is weird that you heard spiders crying. It is maybe you're just really good at hearing things.
Maybe. That might.
You have very, very big ears. But not in like a physical sense, but like more of like a, like you say someone has a big brain. It's not like, it's not like this. It's not like, Yeah.
Yeah. Not physically big ears, but metaphorically.
Yeah. You got big ears on the inside.
Okay. Maybe that's it. You're probably right.
And do you want to go? Well, I mean, we have a little bit for dinner. Do you just want to do like a quick perimeter check? I can take you and I can look around, make sure there's nothing coming.
That would make me feel comfortable. Yeah.
Sure. And then Leaf will turn around and sit on your feet, and then he will use you to go and he'll explore with his eyes, and he'll just do like a quick birdie perimeter check looking for stuff.
Roll me a perception check.
I'm gonna get my breakfast one day.
I got a 15.
15. All right. As you send you around with a 15 perception, around the animal pens where you previously inspected earlier in the day, you do notice from your high vantage point a little bit of a weird. You're flying around the perimeter, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just double check. From your vantage point, you do witness a little bit of a weird tracks in the ground. You sleeps down just to be able to see it better enough, and you see what looks to be snake prints in the dirt. But rather a good many of them. As you kind of follow it, you track the prints, but you lose them near a rather large gopher hole near the stage in the old oak where that brawl busted out earlier in the day. As you do your perimeter check, that's about all you see. As you returns to Leaf,
That's not gonna get
Leaf looks
confusing.
back up to you. Natalia.
Love my
When
name.
you comes back to you, you go out to Natalia. You go out to you.
You walk up to
Anyway,
me,
you
have
hear a
conversation.
familiar voice approach you, which is weird because
Nobody's supposed to be here.
no one's supposed to be here anymore.
Bum, bum, bum.
Black Bonnie, the one that rushed up to you, and
Oh, the captain. Yeah, she never got
the
her
one that
stuff
rushed up
back.
to you and put things on you, and then booked it. She comes up to you. Still got my stuff?
I'm gonna take the quiver off, pull yours out, and just kind of dump it in.
She takes it.
It's all there.
Thanks. Here. Hands you a sack of coins. Kind of catch it up in the air. Inside are 20 shiny, freshly minted legs
What?
with a wave pattern on the side and a kraken on the other. She then turns with a wink and walks away.
So mysterious.
All right, Osric, you are whisked away.
All right.
You are cooking. And what are you making?
All right. For Nephi, I'm making the breakfast special. For Leaf, I am making tofu chili with vegan cast iron skillet cornbread.
Okay.
For the camp, I am making roast chicken served with brown gravy, mashed potatoes, fried squash flour, and a fresh roll. And then for dessert is fried plantains, banana fosters with caramel syrup and vanilla ice cream.
Okay, so
So
number
Nessie
one,
and Friend are just kind of looking at you like,
delish.
Go big or go home.
had to go big,
ladies.
didn't you?
Always. Big stomachs.
I
a lot of
really
people
like
food.
the idea that us or Leaf and Nephi have like the chef's table. So like we always get whatever
yeah.
we
You're-
want,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
everybody
Everyone
Yeah.
else has got to.
Everyone else has a deal.
Suck it,
Yeah.
you guys. If you don't like it, we'll get something else.
All right, so as the wagon of Taste, essentially, is dragged over towards the tent fire. And as the day begins to wind down and the darkness begins to take over the sky, the Hanatas all gather around. The Blue Veil troop all gather around the tent fire. Sing songs, laugh, tell stories. And for the first part of it, you, Osric, along with Senesi and Friend, are cooking for the troop. So,
So
first, though,
Oh,
Borag and Kalnasi come up to you. Azatis, what were our earnings today?
so the camp gets 43 golds, 20 lex, 33 silver, and 63 cops. And that is the full bread and the three of us together. Yeah, they make money off this. This, like I'm saying, this just is the pantry offset cost because go big or go home.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And
Right.
mom ain't raised no wuss.
So, as you guys gather around this tent fire, and Ostrich, Senesi, Fran, and Haranen are making dinner for everyone. Haranen, following your orders, your
Only
recipe
time
to the exact measurements, everything. Okay.
What are they good in? Is Friend like a desserts lady? Like that's her main thing. She smashed
Friend
up
is
the ballpark.
great at desserts.
Senesi, what is she good with sides? She good with bread?
She's good with
Doing Hell's Kitchen
Basically,
stations, y'all.
yeah,
exactly.
basically
I am
not
breaking
sweets.
it down. Anything that's not
she'd be
sweets,
good with the proteins.
Protein,
what is he
garnish,
Haranen would be
dessert.
good for a garnish.
All right,
Yeah.
so all right, so how it's breaking down. We got Friend on dessert station tonight. She frying the plantain. She's making the fresh ice cream.
Yeah.
So good.
We got yeah, this is
So
literally
excited.
what I'm paying for. We got
All
Senesi
in this
breaking
small
it down.
wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Senesi's breaking it down.
Everybody's
She's
butts are
roasting.
touching. They're just
Yeah.
facing different ways.
Well, everyone's butts touching, and then they're eye level with everything. Be like, hey! You got Senesi cooking the roast chicken. She's preparing the beef. She's cooking the sugared ham, and she's also making. Well, that's what she's doing. She's making the chili.
Okay.
And then we got Hernan working on the sides and the bread. I am working on their two personal meals, and I'm walking around the station with a nice silver set of spoons that are my tasting spoons. Takes one out, dips it into the pot, tastes it, tucks it away to be washed later. And he never reuses any of the spoons until they're washed. And he's got like 10 of them. So he's walking around making sure this might need a little bit more butter. You watch the milk, it's boiling,
Okay.
I
As
like
you
this
guys
mental
are-
picture of like Osric having a necklace of spoons.
As this kitchen is bustling
Auntie.
with the four of you moving expertly around each other, your size is coming in so much handy right now.
The bag is
Because
off, by
as
the way.
Haranen
It's-
turns around to hand something to Senesi, you're just able to walk right under your chef's hat, just brushing his arm. But as you walk around, Haranen says, "Oh, Osric, I have something to give you, my friend."
What's going on, Hernan? What's going on?
So I asked Vestia the other day if she could run into town for something, looking for something specific.
Mhm.
And since you and I are the only two that are learning how to
Cook.
cook, I asked her to find something special. I saved up something, a good bit of money for a while now, and well, here. And he gives you essentially a leather wrapped something. It's like very thin leather wrapped around an object. It's handheld. He hands it to you, Haranen. I got one as well, but seeing the way you work, I thought of you.
Just like, I'll step off out of the aisleway, make sure no one's coming through with hot, sharp behind, and just open it up real quick.
It is an elegant spoon and a fork.
It's a spark.
It's not a spork. There is a spoon and
You
a
just
fork.
you went so country. Oh my god, he got him a spark.
I'm so excited.
The best of both worlds. It can do
After every
everything.
bite, he says, after every bite, it cleans itself.
Oh,
Oh wow.
How?
is there a knife in there too?
It's essentially, after every bite, it prestidigitates itself.
That's so cool.
That's so useful.
You know what? For the heck of it, yeah, you got your full set. There's a knife in there as well. Nice. All right. So, perfect for tasting. He knows how much you love your recipes. And Haranen gives you a gift.
Thank you. Hernan. didn't really get you anything.
Hot coming around, and you see Sinesthe just like walk by.
It's just
Miranda
immediate.
just
As soon as she goes hot, it's the end of the bag.
Yeah.
Just give them the space. I don't really have to do it.
Anyways,
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll like reach up and dip the spoon in mashed potatoes. How do they taste? Do they need more butter? Need more salt? Need more pepper? Need
use
more
a
milk?
tad bit more salt, and then you watch the spoon, just like shiny, like a cascade, just gone. It's all clean again.
Well, thank you, Hernán. They do need a little bit more salt.
More salt, you got it.
Just a pinch more, not too much. Dude, a pinch is a legit measurement in the kitchen,
I know.
and I love it.
You
A
will.
pinch.
There's a pinch of salt in there, and you guys continue. Natalia and Leaf.
Like, the first thing that popped in my head when like you had your self-cleaning cutlery was that it just started salivating, and then that's how it cleaned itself. And like I can't get that image out of my head.
So like all of them have just like a tongue that comes out and goes, "Nah." And that's how it
No, it just kind of like it just gets wet out of nowhere, and you can just like see all the shit fall off, all the grime and stuff fall off of it. You know?
Gross.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like self-cleaning, like you're watching it go into dishwasher mode. It's just like, I'm like, it smells horrible.
As you guys are waiting for food to be made, Old Strem, who before we talked with Old Man Strem, is essentially like the grandfather. He kind of comes forward, starts to walk around the main tent fire, and tells the tale. Story time is kind of tradition, especially near the end of the carnival, around the tent fire. As Old Strem walks around the tent fire, you look around, and as usual, you do not see Cray the Blade. As you think on Cray, Old Strem opens his mouth to tell the tale. The 6 thugs from Wintersdale who tried to take Mavia by force into the forest some months back. There to do unspeakable things to her. He opens his mouth to speak. The men had caught her unawares, away from the wagons, and cupped her mouth lest she scream for help or to use her magics as they dragged her away. What the men did not know, however, was that Cray was nearby, sitting in the dark, as he was wont to do. He arrived as they were tearing at her clothing, their eyes shining with the evil intent they planned. At first they laughed at him. They were, after all, 6 against 1. And with Cray not an overly large man, he would die quickly, they thought. 5 of them advanced upon him, weapons drawn, with menacing stares and gritted teeth, as wolves would move against a fawn alone in the meadow. The 6th, the leader, remained behind, holding Mavia down, as he encouraged his men to finish off this little shizat, so they could get back to their fun. 2 were dead before they took 3 steps. One with a black-handled dagger in his throat, another one through his eye. The 3rd, a large man with a huge scar across his face, staggered back from the smallish man, coughing and gurgling. As blood poured from the slash across his neck, his head nearly severed by the stroke. Cray had drawn his sword with lightning quickness, slicing just below the man's jaw before the attacker could even react. The last 2, seeing the fates of their brethren, now understood their risk. They spread to either side of Cray, weapons at the ready, malice in their faces. They advanced as one, approaching Cray with his right, approaching Cray from his right and his left. The first with an axe. The second with two long, wicked daggers. Like a flash, Cray ducked beneath the axe stroke of the first man, diving backward with an agility that neither of the assailants expected. Cray's sword sung as he dove, cutting the axe-wielding man's upper leg to the bone. With a groan, the man fell to the ground, blood gushing from the wound to pool on the trampled grass. The second man moved quickly as the now vulnerable Cray, intending to sink his daggers into the small man's exposed back before Cray could recover from his move. But Cray had anticipated just this, and as the tale goes, had done it a purpose. As the man, thinking he had an easy opening, raised his daggers to strike, Cray thrust his body backwards toward his attacker, sliding beneath the flashing knives and driving his shoulder into the chest of the larger foe. In the same moment, Cray thrust his sword backward as well. Steel met its mark, sinking deep into the man's belly. Cray twisting the blade upward in the same stroke. The man was dead before he hit the ground. The other attacker, with the wounded leg, attempted to rise and fight again, but died almost immediately, with another of Cray's daggers embedded in his chest. He never even saw the small man throw it. Cray then stood up and moved towards the leader, who sat astride Mavia. Her eyes were wide with fear. The man now held his dagger to her throat. "Stop now, or I'll be making her bleed," he hissed. Cray stood before the leader, his eyes intent upon the man's face. The man stared back at Cray, his gaze filled with hate. But what the man did not see was Cray's eyes dart for just a moment to look beyond where the man straddled Mavia into the shadows of the trees behind. Without a word, Cray dropped his sword. "That's a smart fellow," growled the man. "Now I want you to." But the man's sentence was cut short. For that exact moment, a silent figure moved out to the shadows behind him. A dark hardwood staff struck the leader in the back of his skull, cracking the bone of his cranium and breaking his neck at the base. The man's corpse toppled off of Mavia to the ground at her side. The girl looked up at the one who had so recently arrived to finish off the last of the horrible brutes, her breast still heaving in fear. What she saw was an older, blind elf, dressed in a pauper's robes with bluish skin and a long, hanging braid falling from his otherwise bald head. It was Brian, our blind wing. His monkish skills are impressive, to say the least. His sightless eyes looked down at Mavia, then to the bodies on the ground, then up towards Cray, who smiled wryly at the newly arrived personage. "I see I came late to this party," the bald man remarked in a soft voice. He did not wait for a reply from Cray, as he knew none would come. Looking back down to Mavia, he asked, "May I escort you back to the wagons, my dear? 'Tis far too late for a young woman such as yourself to be out here in the woods alone." The girl nodded in reply, her breathing still heavy, almost as if he saw her answer. The blind man reached his strong, gnarled hand down to lift her from the ground. They then began a slow walk back towards the camp. After a moment, Mavia looked back over her shoulder, wishing to thank her savior, but Cray had disappeared into the darkness, as he was wont to do. This tale had been told many a time around the tent fire. Cray never spoke. However, and indeed, never seemed present when it was being used. But as this moment food is beginning to be dispersed around the tent fire, around to everyone. Ostrich, Senesi, Fen, and Haranen finished. Finished.
Yeah, it's my time to shine.
Yeah.
Put me out there. Put me out there.
Finished the meal for the night. As they are giving it out, Ostrich, as he usually does, saves the two of you best for last. Not to make it. But during that time, when they're walking around, Natalia.
Uh-oh. The zombies are back.
So I imagine like I'm sitting like behind Corony, like getting all the dirt and dust out of her hair from the day.
Yeah.
Because she spent it all like at the wrestling field and the range and stuff.
She turns back. Thank you.
Mm.
There's a twig in there for the longest time. I could not get it out.
Here, let me help. And I'll like braid it. And take one of my like feathers that I use for fletching. And just braid it in there.
As you look down,
You have Leaf behind Neffy, like braiding her hair, but he's not really good at it because he's not good at paying attention.
Train.
Natalia, you get a moment. You look down, and seeming to appear out of nowhere, you see a small black dog with floppy ears and bright eyes.
Well, hello.
He yaps at you as if begging for food, sitting back on his hind legs. You look at him, and you see his collar says the name Dragoon, engraved on a small plate. What do you do?
Well, hello there, Dragoon. And I'm gonna take a piece of like bacon and break it in half.
You don't have food yet.
Oh, I thought he had delivered
Not yet.
food to us.
They're currently delivering it.
Oh, okay.
It's not to you yet.
I give everyone else food. You guys get like
Well,
fresh
I
off.
imagine that I have like some trail mix left over.
Sure.
So I'll pull out some like nuts or whatever, and I'll eat one, and then I'll offer one to Dragoon.
You offer one. As you hold your hand out, he goes to take a bite, and as his little puppy teeth just touch the food that you're offering him, you watch him disappear. It was never there. Both Corny and Leaf are turned to you, looking at you like you're crazy. Are you talking to Neffy?
You didn't see the dog? There was a puppy right there. It was like by your knee.
Corny, hold on.
It's not a puppy.
Hold on.
That's you.
Hold on.
That's you.
Look towards Corny. Yeah, it's a cute puppy. I don't know what she's talking about. I didn't see a puppy. I just don't want her to think she's crazy.
She heard voices earlier. Now I'm concerned.
Corny like looks around. No.
No.
There was a puppy
There
there.
was definitely. See, Leaf. So, see, there was definitely. It was right by your knee. How did you miss that? I thought you were the most observant person in this camp, Courtney.
Oh.
I turned, watched you pull out a little bit of mix, and offer it to thin air.
Mm.
Trust me, I still am the most observant. So do you see like ghost dogs or something?
Nothing hears
To
voices.
be really honest with you, today's been a really weird day.
Osric approaches.
Ah,
You see
maybe I'm
with-
just hungry.
You see, he's got an oak serving platter, and he's walking up with 3 bowls. Hands to Corny the standard tavern lunch option. And then he breaks out for Neffy the sugar cured ham, bacon, sausage patties, breakfast potatoes, and a little bit of gravy.
Yes.
And then Leaf gets a nice chili that obviously has tofu cubes in it, but it's got little
Yeah.
elbow noodles that form a smile with like tofu cubes as the eye. And
Ah!
then on the little serving
Yay.
plate is a big slab of cornbread.
Nice. Friendly chili. Yay. Thank you.
Canassi gets up and walks around 10 fires. Everyone eats what Osric has prepared for them. Senesi, Friend, Moranin, you all eat last. As
Per usual.
yeah, per usual.
Give me the scraps. I'm scraping the mix them both.
But as Canassi walks around, she tells you the legend of Xylea. Long ago, many centuries before the woe of ruin, there were no traveling folk, for the blood touch have never manifested itself within any of the high races. But there came a day when the mother of all Hanatas was born. Her name was Xylea Aliana, and she was conceived in the coupling between an elven dancer named Kailani Aliana and an unnamed traveling jester. The two were said to have consorted on warm spring eves some 2,000 years ago under the smiling light of a full-faced Lunios, which is the major moon of the world of Xyathe. 9 months later, on the 22nd day of the last month of the year, which is called Fool's Day, Xylea Aliana came into the world. If the tales be true, she was beautiful to behold, with an uncanny wit and unnatural charm that could make the most surly king laugh till he cried. Her tricks were astounding, and her jests greater than any comedic personage who had come before her. By the time she was just 16 years old, she was entertaining in the highest courts and playing on the grandest of stages of the Ethernic civilization. But Xylea had a secret that none except her mother knew, namely that beneath her thick makeup and billowing clowny clothes, she had skin of reddish-orange, dark blue scales upon her back, and tiny horns beneath her hair. The secret was kept well for a number of years until Sautruna Verdassen, one of the high elven kings, determined that he would have Xylea for his own. He devised a plan to have the woman entertain in his court for the birthday of his brother. But this was just a ruse to bring her to his magnificent forest city and into his majestic cathedral in the trees. The night before she was to perform, the king made his way, in secret, to the guest suite in which Xylea was abiding. There, from a hidden niche, he watched her disrobe and bathe in the open pool in her chambers. As he regarded her, he was even more enraptured when he saw her exotic skin and beautiful shape gleaming in the moonlight. He then came forth from his place of hiding and exposed himself to her, his lust inflamed, his desire for her greater than anything he had wished for in all his life. But Xylea rebuked Sautruna and slapped his face for taking such liberties. Ashamed, the king left her presence and retired to brood in his bedchambers, and to plot his revenge upon the lass who had so belittled him in his own castle. Thus, on the following night, at the performance for Sautruna's brother, a stage hook chanced to catch upon Xylea's costume, tearing much of it from her body, exposing her secret for all the world to see. The king feigned aghast in the sight of her, and the others in the audience followed suit as they had been prepared to do by the king's order. A group of priests in the audience named her a demon, and she was cast from the courts, never to perform again. Indeed, her alien appearance marked her for all in the realm, and she was turned out of villages, out of towns, wherever she traveled. Then one day, as Xylea walked alone on a road, hoping beyond hope that she could find welcome in the next town, an old man in a jester's hat, driving a colorfully painted wagon pulled by huge blue horses, came up beside her. Xylea, regarding the wizened figure who held the reins, and was taken aback at the brightness in his eyes and the warmth of his smile. The man asked if she would like a ride, and did not seem at all bothered by her alien appearance. Xylea agreed, and the two rode together for over a year. 'Tis said that the old man told Xylea many things in their time together, for he was wise beyond wisdom. He spoke of life and love and purpose. He talked of the life song and the way of all things and the first flows of the Xanthus, almost as if he had witnessed creation himself. He told Xylea that she was special and that she would be the first of many, and that much depended on her and on those who would come after her. She looks over to the Yunstas and she says that. Little kid's just all engorged in his tail right now. She smiles and goes back to telling. He even named her people, which are called the Hanatas, even to this day. The word has no translation in the tongue of the common speech, but some have said it means the fool's dance, while others say it refers to the last laugh and some great comedic performance. One day, Xylea awoke to find that the old man had left. Sitting beside her were a necklace upon which hung the symbol of the god Jinx, a large leather-bound magical tome, and the jester's hat that the old man had worn. Nearby was the brightly painted wagon and the great blue horns that pulled it. Xylea donned the necklace and the hat and cracked open the tome. An inscription had been written on the inside of the cover. All it said was, "The greatest jest is yet to be played. Learn well your part." She looks specifically to the three of you. With a little smile, she continues. The tome was said to contain all the spells of the traveling folk, the methods for the crafting of their magical tents, enchanted movements of their spell dances, and the many incantations that create the phantasms and illusions that even today delight the crowds at the Carnivals. Xylea studied the tome intently, learning the conjurations and the magical dances while she crafted the first of the magical tents. Soon thereafter, people began to come to Xylea's camp, called by some unseen compulsion. Like her, these folk also had strange afflictions, deformities, and alien characteristics. And like her, these abnormalities made them unwelcome in their hometowns. Over time, these folk built their own wagons, and together the group traveled the roads of the grand civilization, hosting the first carnivals and beginning the legacy of the Hanatas. And it came to pass that Xylea discovered she had the power of divination, allowing her to peer into the future and see shades of that which was to be. She named this gift the Sight and began to use it for the benefit of her people. Some years later, just before the War of Ruin occurred, 'tis said that the old man came once again to Xylea, who was now of an advanced age. The old man guided her and the troop she oversaw to a remote and hidden valley in the northern reaches, far from where the great calamity would originate. There the troop would survive the great destruction that followed. In the aftermath, began to establish their place in the new world. In the years following the War of Ruin, it seemed that more folk than ever before were afflicted with the blood touch. And the one troop became two, and then three, and then several. Other troops were raised up on other continents as well, and the Hanatas people, though still ostracized from the general population, achieved some measure of prosperity in the centuries that came afterward. In the year 222 SC, which is 222 years following the War of Ruin, Xylea was laid to rest in a secret shrine on the continent of Vedestia. Her writings and teachings, however, lived after her and have been preserved by many Arnautas troops that travel the roads of the world, such as all of you. Tomorrow is our last day. Let's make it big. Let's make Xylea proud. Good job, everyone. Soon we'll be leaving Nevermore.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Not sure.
Leaf jump the gun. He starts to fuck. Just kind of looks.
I join in so Leaf doesn't feel alone.
Tomorrow is our last day pedaling to Nevermore.
Leaf heard I get to go to bed and just he's like, finally.
As everyone kind of applauds. Tent fire. You guys eat. Describe, what does this taste like, Ostrich?
So the breakfast special, it's like any good Southern grandma, like you're coming over after church, like it's the breakfast layout. The
Okay.
chili is any good classic chili. Camp gets, I call it the tavern special. Basically, it's what you get when you're going to Europe. I got $5. Give me what you got, and they give you the good stuff.
Okay.
And then once
At
you
the Hofbrauhaus, you get sausage and
exactly, and
an
then
ale.
once she finishes that story, Ostrich actually walks out with the desserts and starts handing out the fried plantain from Fresh Vanilla.
He's gonna cast minor illusion, and he's gonna be like, Neffy, look, it's back. But it's gonna be like a tiny brown puppy, because he doesn't know what color it was. He just thought it was a puppy. So it's gonna be like brown puppy with like white spots. And he's gonna have it like hop between people and like run around. See, I told you. I saw the puppy. There it goes.
All right.
Leaf.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy. Put a hand on her back.
Thanks, buddy.
You're not crazy. That's totally not right.
As the night will wind down, the three of you, for the first time, finally, get
All right.
a long rest.
Yes!
Woo! It only took us like 7 episodes. We
did it.
finally did it.
Man.
Finally did.
Man, that's hardcore.
Exciting.
Ostrich
Congrats.
put a little bit extra dessert in Chelsea's bowl.
Why Chelsea? He likes Chelsea. Oh,
She made his apron. He believes good luck.
oh,
He's not died yet.
That's
adorable.
adorable.
So he's
Oh,
just
so much.
like,
Chelsea looks to you, gives you a smile, pulls you in, gives you a little hug. And she kind of looks down, gives you the little bit of sign language for
yeah, just
like delicious.
I would like to go over to the archer range of the wrestling fields. Like, I'm looking for Craig.
Okay.
please.
You kind of walk off, right? As you walk out into the carnival, you don't find them. You go over to the wrestling fields, over to the archer range, still nowhere to be found. And then you hear a voice from behind you. What are you doing?
I'll just kind of like whip around, like try to play that off, like I wasn't totally startled. I mostly just wanted to apologize for earlier. I let them get to me, but I brought you this, and I'm gonna give him the Seric Iron Wakizashi that we found. I don't know if you would use it, but maybe you could, and if you can't, maybe someone can.
Thank you. But you don't need to apologize to me. It's you. I know you can do better.
Oh.
I know.
Mm.
Being said, I am still proud of you. You and Corny are good students. Just don't allow distractions to take over. And watch your ego.
Oh!
Yes,
Oh!
yes. And sometimes those that go against us deserve everything that's coming to them. But don't give them anything at all.
Like you. Stoic.
Stoic. Just remember, we are despised by those who see us as lesser people. When the time comes for you to defend yourself against them, you need not even utter a word, because they don't deserve it. And if those words that you utter are only to bolster your own ego, sometimes it may be best just to keep your mouth quiet. You did good today, Zatis. Remember that. I heard about you. Saved a couple of priests today, didn't you?
Wasn't just me, but yeah.
Takes that Markazashi, flips it, grabs it by the handle. Anything else?
No. Thank you. I think.
Turns and begins to walk into the darkness.
Yeah, I'll just walk back. I'm gonna sit down next to Corny. I definitely think I feel worse now.
Watch your ego.
Yeah, he told me something earlier about watching my ego.
Oh my god, me too!
Do we have a problem?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. but
Yeah.
Was he hiding in the darkness?
Thank you two are great.
See?
See?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Steve. Thank you. Anyways, I'm gonna get some shut eye because it turns out running a whole little range is kind of a
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a
It's
pain
a
in the
lot.
ass. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
If you put a little water in your hair and you sleep with it like that, maybe a little curling water.
Oh. thank you. Good night, Leaf. Osric.
Thank
Oh, she's got something.
As she's leaving, hey, watch your ego.
You too. Yeah, that's just funny. As you guys lay down, you long rest.
Or I long rest.
Time.
Someone's bugging me. I would like to take the ring, use the identify spell that is within this ring, and I want to cast it on my little froggy. This thing has to do something cool, and I want to know what it does.
You cast Identify on this malachite frog that you got earlier in the day from Seller's Row using your new apprentice's ring. And what you find,
I knew it did things. I knew it.
I
You believed me.
Thanks.
You all thought I was crazy.
You're right. I did think you were crazy. It's just a nice frog.
What is the command word written on the bottom?
Oh my god. I think, don't you get to make the command word once it becomes yours?
It says the command word is faintly carved on the bottom.
Oh.
you look at the bottom of the malachite frog.
Please be something cute. Come on.
You said, please be something cute.
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch, I choose you.
Or just like something awesome? Come on. It's got to be something. Come on. It's got to be something great. I know what it is. Come on, Alex.
Says
Don't let me down.
Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle.
Yes.
Let's go. Is that the name of the frog?
Oh, I bet it is.
I got no.
I'm down.
This is important to
Yeah, Snickers.
Snicky.
Sneaky.
Aussie. Hold this frog.
I'll take
Hold this frog?
as I'm sipping something.
Are you about to use it?
Maybe.
I just want you to refer to the to the third.
Oh my god. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. I only made it to sentence number 2.
Sentence.
My bad.
Please read the third
else does it do?
sentence. And it's just
I just saw-
hard staring at the camera. Just
It's like, wait.
third sentence.
Rather than exuding poison, it's covered in a viscous fluid with healing properties. If applied to the skin, the sticky mucus acts as a potion of healing. The mucus cannot be stored for later use, but the fog generates 1d3 doses each time it is activated. So we can make a giant frog, rub ourselves on it, and use it to heal ourselves once every 3 days.
Once every 3 weeks.
It'd be like,
Once every
you give like...
Once every 3 days.
It's all...
for 4
It's
hours.
Snickerdoodle's the Huggy Frog!
3 weeks, I was like,
Snickerdoodle's the Huggy Frog. You hug it and it gives you a healing potion. Okay, so so back to Leaf. What
Why do you
happened
hold the
was
frog?
he heard in his head when he identified it, he was like, it was like a narrative voice being like, this frog has the ability to turn into a giant frog for 4 hours. So he's like, I gotta give it to Aussie. Aussie, hold this. And he's like, you could only do this once every 3 days. And then he takes it back. He's like, oh wait, never mind. I gotta save that.
God. It's the guy that does like the Planet Earth stuff. He's like, and as you can see.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's the
yeah.
narrator.
David
That's the narrator.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
This statuette is carved in the shape of a squatting frog. Its command word is faintly carved in the bottom. It can become a giant frog for up to 4 hours. You look at the bottom.
Aussie, take the
it
frog.
says Snickerdoodle.
Aussie, hold the frog.
Once
Okay,
it has
ready for
been
this?
used, it can't be used again for 3 days. The
Oh wait,
giant
never mind.
Hold on. And like Aussie will try to snatch his hand back. What do you mean? Why are you gonna ask me to hold our froggy and then you go ask for
Okay,
it back?
David
okay.
Attenborough. It's the word. It's the voice.
Okay, so here's what happened. The apprentice ring allows me to identify stuff. So I thought, there's gotta be something going on with the frog. So I did. I cast it, and then I heard the identify guy. He was all like, "Oh, it turns into a giant frog for 4 hours." So I had to do the frog, and I was like, "Oh, that'd be awesome! I gotta show you. I gotta crush you with a giant frog because it'd be funny." And then, but it's a big frog though. It's okay. But then he said, within immediately after I handed it to you, the identify guy said, "Oh, but you can only use it once every 3 days." And I was like, "No, that sounds like a bad thing to use as a joke." So, yeah. But, so it's a frog that turns into a big frog, a giant frog, technically, and it's good for 4 hours, and it has this mucus that if you hug it, it'll heal you. But you can only use it once every 3 days, so it's probably something we should save for special occasions.
So your first thought was to crush me with this giant frog.
Yeah, but it's a giant frog. Frogs are like 3/4 air. It's just like, it'd be like if I threw a big pillow on it.
Is it like a watermelon where it's like 75% air, 25% frog?
Yeah, it's just a frog, right? It's like big and bloaty, but it's like they're all porous and stuff. So it's like I could imagine even a big frog is probably not that heavy. But yeah, so yeah, the command word's on the bottom. It's Snickerdoodle, and that's the word to activate. But don't say it in a commandy way,
Man,
or else you'll waste the frog.
Snickerdoodle cookies do sound pretty good right now, man. Like I could go
They
for
do.
Snickerdoodle. I kind of want to make a.
You just have to be careful behind the inflection of your voice to how you say the word. And it'll be
What,
fine.
Snickerdoodle?
Anyways,
And
yeah.
I was kidding.
Oh, you see, you ruined it.
Snickerdoodle?
I told you.
Really Snickerdoodle?
All right.
Stop trying to cause the
Oscar, are
frog.
you making cookies?
As you guys as you guys go to lay down with this information, you all finally long rest.
You finally long rest.
We
the
finally-
third try.
We now have
We finally managed the long rest.
We now have
Probably
Snickerdoodle's the
smoked your pipe,
Huggy Frog.
Yeah, I've been smoking the froggy pipe because
Oh.
I was practicing. Because the
When?
kids wanted me to practice my O's when we were walking around Sellers Row. They wanted me to practice my O's because they were like, "Can you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll practice my O's," because I used my end ball and red leaf.
Gotcha.
So I was practicing making it for the kiddos.
All right. Long rest. Wake up the next day.
Dang,
Huh?
I said it took only 4 finalies, but we managed to get to the next day.
Carnival kicks back up. The townies come back too. We have time to make breakfast. Got time to make breakfast. You guys make breakfast. Talk amongst yourselves. You have another day of doing rounds. A half day, really. But go ahead. Where to first?
Well, as a
Should we
haven't
go-
seen to the tall tent or
Tall
the
tent's a
big one.
Tent of Jests?
No,
right?
we did that. We did that first because we went food wagon, tent of Jests.
I know you didn't.
I know you did. All right, confidence in yourself.
To
I
the
guess
tent
Tent of Jests
of
then.
messing with people.
All right, let's go to the Tent of Jests.
All right. It is perhaps with some trepidation that you check in on the Tent of Jests. Zany and Columbina, the clowns of the Blue Veil, run their slapstick shows here. And raucous laughter can always be heard flowing out of the tent. However, some in the troupe do not appreciate their dedication to the craft, as their antics continue even outside of the Carnival shows. Fortunately, others, especially the Eunstas, love their goofy pranks and exaggerated actions. The show sounds to be just finishing, and outside, Taylene and Fizbin, two Frenta jesters in training, are putting on a sideshow for the folks waiting in line. As they finish their routine, Taylene beckons you over. What do you do?
First, he didn't.
Yeah, what do you do? Nothing. I'll walk away. This is the one quest
I'll walk over.
pick up.
Yeah.
Haley! Emulate Haley.
Taylene is perfect for the role of a Hanataz jester. She is never out of character, and as you get close, she puts her hands on her hips and make a stern, grumpy face, and then points into the tent. I need all of you to make me an insight check.
Inside check. First dice roll of the night.
What do you mean?
Got a 16.
You?
A 16 from Leaf, Ostrich,
14.
14,
A
and
natural 20 for a 25.
Where's
that's
this
what-
You pulled a big Rona energy with that one. Let me find your
So,
secrets.
everyone here, you know how the jesters act, and in this moment, Taylene is totally mimicking Anton, the Blue Veil's priest. You can probably tell from Taylene's gesture that Anton is most likely inside, as he helps with all the performances inside the Tent of Jests. However, what'd you make, Ostrich? 14. Leaf and Natalia. You know that through her jester facade, there actually is something clearly wrong. What do you do?
Kind of like cock my head at her, but keep going in.
Okay. As Natalia leads the three of you inside the Tent of Jests, through the open tent flaps you can see Zany with his blue face paint. Let me show you Zany. Zany.
I like that they
Many clowns!
and
Looks like he has a sheriff badge.
by working with them.
Kind of does look like he has a sheriff badge. It's a little sun. But anyways, he's wearing a tight outfit covered by sun, stars, moons, and planets. Columbina is nearby in her equally distinctive green makeup.
Oh.
and flowing costume covered in foxes, ravens, rabbits, and spiders. On occasion, the two will switch outfits and see how long it takes for people to notice. At the moment, Columbina is chasing Zany as she attempts to slap him with a large river fish. He deftly scampers along in front of her while he spills round beads in his flight. She slips and stumbles, though amazingly keeps her feet. Both of the clowns end up falling through an interior flap of the tent, ending the show to much laughter and applause. As the applause begins to die down and the people start filtering out of the tent, Anton the Blue Veil's priest peeks from the back flap of the tent and waves you over. Show you Anton.
They really tortured this man.
What do you guys do? Go towards
Yeah.
him, yeah?
We're walking up, walking
Anyways,
You should really be a part of this show, Ostrich.
you pick your way carefully through the tent and pass beyond the back flap. It would be a surprise to many that the rear of the Tent of Jests also serves as the troops' portable shrine to the gods. Silver discs with the holy symbols of a number of gods are reverently placed throughout the shrine. The symbols of Jinx, the Lord of Fools, and Kismia, the god of luck, are hung to be the most prominent as they are considered the patrons of the traveling folk. These two are surrounded by a ring of other emblems paying homage to Fufan, the joy lord of festivals, Buffon, the god of brewing, Haliona, the lady of freedom, Bernard, the patron of good-natured rogues, Kakion, the waylord of paths and roads, Mistos, the god of mysteries and prophecy, and Chance, the god of gambling and risk-taking. As you enter, you see Zany and Columbina are cleaning up their makeup and stuffing colored scarves down their sleeves, while Anton stands with his hands on his hips, looking at the gestures, an annoyed expression on his face. Anton turns to greet you. He wears a baggy shirt and trousers, a short vest, and a magnificent blue turban which is pinned with an ornamental symbol of Jinx. Numerous fine chains hang around his chest. Each one is festooned with medallions bearing the symbols of gods. His large, finely groomed mustache bobs as he nods to you. Welcome, Zatis. It is wise to take time to honor the gods, even on such a busy day. Especially on such a busy day. Not too much trouble so far, I hope.
Not so far.
And how fared yesterday?
Not as good.
Oh.
Really?
Ate it.
I didn't realize you had such a bad day. I would give you some more dessert.
There were a lot of spiders.
Very, very good. I love the fried plantains. They are a
Plantain-
personal
My
favorite of mine.
They actually just turned ripe yesterday. I was doing inventory stock, and it was the whole thing. I knew I had to use them before they turned.
Oh, they were quite delicious. Well, that is good, and I'm grateful for your vigilance, young Zatis. However, he continues with an irritated clearing of his throat. It is unfortunate that I must ask for your help with some of our own. He kind of gestures over to the jesters. My votive candles have gone missing, and I do not believe any of the locals here are to blame. Anton glares daggers at the two clowns, who look at each other with questioning looks. Can you not cease this buffoonery for even a moment? What have you done with my damn candles? Zany gives an exaggerated full-body shrug with an overwrought frown, while Columbina mimes a gasp. They share a soundless laugh before beginning another pantomime. Columbina goes stock still with her arms spread wide, while Zany disappears behind her voluminous costume. He sticks his face out and makes a chittering sound before vaulting atop her shoulders and tossing a handful of blue and white confetti over a fuming Anton. Finally, he produces a candle from one of the folds of Columbina's outfit with a beaming smile. Anton reaches out and grabs it. Yes, fine, thank you. But where are the rest? he asks with a tone of exasperation. Jesters still seem to be in a playful mood. They kind of look to the three of you, and Zany just pretends to be mimicking. And as he begins to cook, you watch him reach out and dip into whatever it is, sauce or whatever you imagine.
Does he hold a spoon or is he?
He does
Yeah.
finger, he goes, he offers it to Columbina, and Columbina goes and falls down, acting to be dead. And then
Wow, Osric, your
And
cooking
then,
has gotten worse.
Zany walks away, and then he comes back fluttering his little hands, pretending to be a certain little bird.
Oh, it's you!
And
Hey, look, it's you.
He
Wait.
lands right over and just kind of stands over Columbina on the ground, and
And eats her?
just
Oh!
just makes noise on
Wow.
the
Wow. That's wow. And I thought my jokes were bad. Oh my god, he eats her? Wow, this took a dark turn. Gooey Q was like really setting us up over here.
Columbina hops up and just like does like a little used smile and does a thing with the horns and acts like you, like you, not you.
Like Leaf.
Acts like you.
Wait,
Lee.
so they're both acting like the birds?
And then watch the bird land on Columbina's shoulder, and then Zany goes.
No.
And you watch you go.
The sound effect is so
And-
good.
And then Columbina stands kind of with a powerful stance. Waves the little jingly gesture hat.
I'm gonna mimic everything she does.
Looks to you.
What's the real Daffy?
And then Zany.
I can't tell.
Okay.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I got half of this. And then you did that last part, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And neither does Ostrich with the 10.
20. Not a natural, but
I'm
a 20.
a 10. I'm offended he used his finger to scoop it instead of wielding a spoon.
Leaf, what'd you get?
At 13.
You're not sure what they're doing, but Natalia, you are looking for the candles. Tree. It looks like he mimicked a trunk with branches.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Hey. Let's go look at the 2 old trees in camp.
Did you figure out what they were trying to?
Yeah.
Do you speak clown?
Obviously.
Hey,
Where are my candles?
You know
would
what?
like to
You know
say-
what?
I would
You
like-
cook your own dessert tonight. And Ostric's gonna like walk out of the tent. Just like
As you walk out, Zany walks behind, just like acting annoyed. But he's gonna roll stealth check. What's your passive perception?
11.
He succeeds.
Ostrich
You do
just-
not know he is mimicking you. As he's behind you, just you two see it. He's just walking by. Anton says to you, "Where are my candles?
In one of the 2 trees.
If you can find where they hit them, I'd be most appreciative.
How many are you missing?
There's 4 more I'm missing.
Okay.
Find them, please, please. We have another show about to begin. I'll be here. Come
Right.
to the back."
On it. Ostrich, we're going to the one by the wrestling fields first.
His legs are short. He ain't trying to make the trip down there from Tent of Jests. He's just
Okay.
I got tiny legs.
he's just like
So you make your
shove-
way over to the nearest old oak. It's by the wrestling field. When you arrive there, you see the tree. I need all 3 of you to make me a perception check.
Yay! He got distracted. He found a really pretty bird.
You found a stick.
17 for me.
Okay.
Natural 20 for a 20.
Yes.
Leaf.
Power of annoyance.
I got a 6.
Oh, bird.
It's you.
The two of you. You walk up, and you're kind of scouring trees, seeing if they did something like hung it by like string or put it up in these branches or whatever. But then you see something odd, and you hear a little bit of a chittering, almost sounds like a ferret, as you see the slender shape, covered in white fur, scurrying through the branches. As you watch the movements, you notice that it is seemingly popping in and out of existence. You've heard of creatures called dimensional slinkers, which are creatures like large weasels in appearance with white and gold fur and blue eyes that can travel between the planes. They are known to build nests in other planes. Fortunately, it appears this particular slinker has stashed the stolen candles in your realm of existence.
Oh, thank goodness.
Unfortunately, however, it seems to be carrying one of the candles in its mouth. And I will show you. The candle thief.
Bum, bum, bum.
Wow.
I think it's adorable,
Yes.
and I want it.
Leaf, try to have 2 friends.
It's got a mustache.
You turn into that
It's
thing.
got
That
a mustache.
thing's awesome.
Everything.
Oh, is that not a mustache? Is that a...
It
That's
is a
a-
mustache.
definitely a
I
mustache.
just looked at it. I was like, it looks like a mustache.
That's
It's
too
like,
swirly to be a candle.
towards the. Yeah, that's why I was like, this is a weird looking candle. What does he need to praise?
No, it definitely looks like hair.
Is he trying to praise?
It's so cute!
He trying to praise Fufon out here?
Anyways. So, as you look up, you do see 3 candles stashed randomly in the tree, placed there by probably this little dimensional slinker. And as it kind of is traveling through the branches, it looks down to you just with one candle just sticking out of its mouth.
That
Its eyes
cannot
look to all
taste
3
good.
of you.
Does it look like a hamster? Like the cheeks are like huge. And it's just
No,
like,
it's not huge. It's just got its little mouth open over the end of the candle, and it's got it long ways.
Mhm.
But it looks down to you.
It's dangerous.
Really, what do you guys do?
So the other candles, are they like fairly high up in this tree? Yeah.
They're required to climb them.
Do you want to work on getting the candles down with your mage hand? And me and Ostrich can work together as a team, like we usually do, and try to convince this dimensional slinker to give that one back. Could you perhaps offer exchange for the candle, maybe?
I need you to roll me
I don't deal with live animals for 9. I deal with them already dead. What I know, I'm gonna pull out a beef bone. And I'm gonna try to offer it to the fairy. It's a dimensional center. It seems like you're not even. Doesn't even you. Are we trying to keep it alive?
Of course, we're trying to keep it alive. Look at that thing.
What?
on coming into this world.
It's a nice snack.
Is this considered a beast?
Wait,
It does count as a beast.
It does. Okay. I gotta look this up because I'm not sure how this works. The ranger did this. I have advantage on survival checks to track, as well as intelligence checks for constitution. Could I recall any kind of information about what type of food this thing might like?
Do you have
I have advantages
because
because it's a beast.
me animal handling? Advantage.
Animal handling with advantage.
No.
Like proficiency in animal handling.
I don't.
You can go ahead and roll 2, Lee. Like, this is kind of whimsical up your alley.
Can I just help Neffy?
She
I guess
already
I'll just
has
roll.
advantage, so you're good.
Oh, okay. Roll. That's not bad. I got a dirty 20.
23.
Who look at you?
Aw.
Actually, no, this is you too. The two of you, as Aussie pulls out the phone to give,
Well, I gotta make it sweat for Brembroth.
you two look to each other. You know, like you're like a special. They love something called null gum seeds, and only one of you.
Hey, do we have any no-gum seeds?
Yeah, we plan on making cookies tonight. How do you ask?
Could we spare a couple? I'm pretty sure. those-
It just looks to you with its little candle in its mouth.
I'll have to do some top stocking, but
Poofs away. And then poofs back up top near another candle. Puts it in the tree and just looks, trying to figure out which one it wants. You're like, better hurry.
yeah, give me a second, and I'll start walking to
It makes fake seeds.
friend's wagon.
Yeah. Start heading over there. The two of you, what do you want to do while,
I'll have taken my backpack and
Okay.
left it at the tree to.
okay. So the two of you, what do you want to do while Oscar comes over to the wagon?
You want to go ahead and get some down, Lee? While it's not really distracted, but it can't hold all four
what
in its
down?
mouth for sure. Do you want to get some of these candles?
All right,
down?
the candles. Oh, yeah.
We forgot.
There we go. I will, I'm going to specifically try to do it when it's not looking.
Okay.
And I was going to try to, like, mage hand flick him out of the tree.
Okay. As as your mage hand goes up to a candle that is not near this little dimensional fella, the little candle thief, you flick one of them out, and it kind of hits a branch but then topples out. You watch the little dimensional slinker just look over, start to run to it, poof out. When the candle is falling, he poofs, grabs it, and then poofs back up to the top
Ah,
and puts it back in its old place.
Wow.
Oh, that was awesome.
That
Let's do it again.
I want
You
to
go to
try.
the ones that it just left, and then as you knock them both out, they begin to fall.
I want
and
to try
then
to like catch them
the
if
li-
I can.
They only fall like 5 feet
Oh,
before the dimensional, the little candle thief just runs over. He keeps them up.
So
It
cool.
looks like if you're going to get
That
them,
is
you're going to have
awesome.
to get them willingly.
These mustachioed man is so high class.
dang! This would be really annoying if he weren't so cute.
if you didn't have a cute mustache.
Or
he's
she. I
very
really
talented.
don't know.
Well, whatever it is. has a
Whatever it
mustache.
is great. It's so good.
Whatever it is now the contested party fight.
You return. Actually, we'll run this with Friend. You make your way over to Friend's wagon. As you walk up, kind of walk past the line very quickly. She's handing another townie something sweet, and she looks down. What are you doing?
I need some Milgum seeds. We got a linker. It's still a couple of candles from the shrines. So you gotta
You're gonna give our sweets to.
listen. Anton really needs these candles today. And he is not in a punny mood. He's groaned at every joke I've told.
Eh,
Yeah.
don't be that way.
You know how my jokes are.
She hands you a little bag,
Thank you.
little sack, little pouch of Malcolm seeds. You quickly make your way back, and after these two just witness like this like bamfing little dimensional slinker.
I like to imagine this whole time Leaf is just knocking them off, and we're trying to see like how fast the dimensional
How fast they can go, yeah.
get to them.
Knock them enough like different directions just to like see if you can catch
It
them.
looks like
Yeah,
Nightcrawler,
Here,
just like
yeah.
You hear kind of by your side. Huh. It's pretty cool, but like, are you guys actually going to get the candles out, or are you just going to play around all day? Sticks a lollipop back in his mouth. Look down, you see Smith.
Well, do you have?
You
any
have to ask that
ideas?
question. You obviously don't know the work of a master.
Oh yeah, I'm watching.
Behold! And that guy flick another candle.
I like to imagine.
Lame.
I like to
Thought
imagine.
you guys were heroes. Seems like he's trying to egg you guys on.
I like to imagine every time a candle gets flicked, it always goes.
Yeah.
And just is like,
Always
excuse you.
Surprised.
It's like, excuse you. Why do you keep falling?
So he sticks this little lollipop back in his mouth. Ostrich, you come back with your nugget seeds.
I just hand empty the pouch. Should be enough.
Smedley, would you like to help?
No, you got this.
I can't really reach, which is a bald-faced lie.
He looks to you,
I can't really reach it.
comes up to your hip, maybe. He's like,
I could put you on my shoulders.
goes back to suck his lollipop.
Looks like
My mom
you're-
said not to talk to you guys, so I'm risking a lot to be here.
Oh,
So either you're going to do some cool stuff or I'm just going to leave.
Hey,
okay.
can we please be the most uncool people today,
I'm
Neffy?
gonna
Like,
stick
please.
the pouch in my mouth and try to climb a little bit to get closer to this guy.
Okay.
Take
Have a mage hand. Okay.
You
Fine.
try to climb up the tree,
And there she goes once again.
and as
She always does things the hard way.
Man, she really likes climbing. Like, any chance she gets, I think she wants to.
Like, I have the ability to just like not have to lift a finger and do that. She just climbs the tree. It's kind of impressive. It's a little inspiring.
You've had all the fun so far.
the
Oh God, she can hear me.
dimensional
Oh, God.
appears right next to feet above you in the tree. No candle in his mouth. Looks down to you, his mustache. Cute. But his face now is starting to be very, very territorial.
Mhm.
And it starts to growl towards you.
Oh my gosh, what, it growls?
Leaf, quick, get the
Am
candles.
am I in a position where I can like sit on a branch?
No, you are not far up.
Okay, so both of my hands are occupied.
Yes.
Okay. I am going to attempt to take the pouch out of my mouth, hang by one hand if I can, and just like open it, set it up in a branch or something, and then drop down.
You put it. His little growl went away when it smelled the seeds. You put it on a branch. You watch it just onto the branches. He takes it and starts to eat it very quickly. It looks down to you, ears perked up.
Good? Trade?
Seems happy. Like really,
Okay.
really wants more.
I,
Hey, Leaf, try again.
I'm good. Yeah. I like what you said is flicking them. I'll just like actually take the candle and just have the hand bring it to him.
Oh, so you're gonna grab the candle with the.
Instead of just like flicking it off, actually grab it and then like pull it out of the tree.
Gotcha. So as you grab it and your mage hand begins to pull over to you, and little thing grabs the other end and it like holds it, doesn't want to let it go. It looks down to you. What do you do?
Did he eat all the seeds already?
Put one there.
Fine.
You said you put one seed up there.
I'll take the pouch. And I'll put it in my hand.
Like, he lets go of the candle and Leaf's able to retrieve it, and he brings
There's
it down.
I'll only put like 4. I'll put 4 in my hand. Oh, come on.
Onto your. And it's a little heavy fella. As he reaches out, you can feel he's got some sharp claws. It's not digging into you, but you can feel it. Like a cat. And he's just eating out of your hand at the moment. Leaf, you have a spare moment to grab the candles, and you do so. All 4 come back down to you. As it finishes, it's got one seed left in your hand. It grabs it with its 2 little hands and appears back up into the branch and just. You have the candles. What do you do?
I'm gonna dump the rest of the pouch into my hand and like toss it up to her.
It tries to catch a couple, and then it's going to be preoccupied for a little bit. So, you guys make your way over. Ostrich upset that cookies will not be a thing later. And you return back to Anton. As you walk into the back flap, next show's about to start. He turns to you. Oh, many thanks, my Zoftis. You do the Blue Veil proud. Unlike certain tent mates of mine. Here, and take these for your troubles. I will pray for the gods to watch over you. And as Leaf, you are given a pendant of Infiorni, the Burning One, once the Lord of Raw Magic, now the Lord of the Prismaflow, patron of all who shape the Prismaflow. And on your pendant you are given, it has the symbol of a prism. Ostrich, you are given a pendant of Fufan, the god of fun, festivals, food, and celebrations, patron of chefs, planners of events, cooks, servers, and all who are festive of spirit and those who create joy. The joy symbol is on your pendant that he gives you. I don't know what the fuck joy symbol is.
It's just a smiley face. It literally is just like a normal smiley face.
Neftalia, you are given the pendant of Haliona, the Freedom Ringer, leader of the chaotic good gods, lady of freedom, safety, camaraderie, wandering, patron of all who further freedom and those who shun oppressive rules and tyrannical ways. The flaming torch, symbol.
That seems very fitting.
So, as he gives each of these are non-magical devotional medallions. However, as you guys are getting this, transaction from candles and pendants, the clowns begin to clap. Surprised you were able to bring them back. Zany will pull out a bouquet of flowers, and he pulls it out of thin air, and he gives a flower to each. Columbina looks around furtively before pulling out her tiny satchel. She reaches impossibly deep into the bag before pulling out a shield that could not possibly fit inside the small bag. It bears a large blue 4-leaf clover, the emblem of Kismir. On the front, the emblem of Kismir on the front gleams brilliantly in the candlelight. She mimes a finger to her lips to keep it a secret. With an impish grin, she gives it to 3 of them. So I'll say she hands it to you. Both clowns laugh in a silent laugh, and you are given the lucky shield. So, with that, you guys leave the Tent of Jests and do a couple more rounds around Carnivalle before heading to the tall tent. When you make your way to the tall tent, another handout.
Hand out.
Yay! Hello! Hello!
It's funny.
Better than
As
hand-ins.
always, as always, Dylan gets it first.
Not as always. One
Yeah.
time we did.
I don't remember
Just
now,
once, though.
so it doesn't count.
And
Tall
then
tent.
Dylan wouldn't stop.
Yeah, Dylan won't stop.
Dylan wouldn't stop saying how it's unfair.
It's okay.
True, it's not.
I got wrong.
As you guys make your way towards the tall tent, the tall tent is the centerpiece of the Blue Veil's Carnivalle. This is where the high mystiques are performed. In the center of the pavilion, Vestia and Skizik will bring forth the greatest of the Hanatas illusion magics, while Selvra and her beasts will exhibit their most impressive feats. Elnas, Savra, and Mavia will dance the full cycle of magical movements in the Alsa Freste. And the champions from the area around Nevermore will engage in contests of strength and skill at arms in the main ring with Borag, Kamasi, Prey, and others. The tent itself is a magical device that has been passed down from generation to generation in the Blue Veil. With just a word, Borag, Kamasi, or one of the other leaders can raise the tent from the modest canvas bag in which it is stored. The tent is large enough to seat nearly 400 people comfortably, and 500 or more if the carnival attendance requires standing room only for a performance. All right, each of you go ahead and give me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. 20.
Look at you rolling good.
15.
Damn it.
And
Got 11.
It's because you're using granny dice.
11.
Granny dice.
Come on,
Yeah.
Granny.
Level.
what'd you get, Lee?
I got 11.
All right.
11.
As you guys are keeping an eye on the crowd as they're walking and making their way into the tent of Jess. Sorry, not Tent of Jess.
Make my way
It's all tent.
to-
You notice a couple of shorter figures moving around. Familiar shorter figures. The Dragon Puncher crew. Are
Oh,
here
no,
to
it's-
stir up
Ah,
more damage.
Dylan just heard Dragon and started having flashbacks. He's like, ah!
I heard, yeah, what, like, I was thinking, like, what little people do we know? It's Dragon Punchers.
Natalia, you
Such a cool name.
You notice several small mosquitoes weaving their way between the legs of those in line towards the front. Too late. You recognize them as the annoying kids that have been causing trouble at the Carnival since you set the tents. With a cry of, "Dragon Punchers rule!" The two leaders, Cleva and Harold, each toss a smoke bomb into the tent. Shouts of surprise erupt inside, though you can tell many assume the smoke is the start of the next act. Each player,
Each player must now improvise an act.
as they throw this smoke bomb in to just cause trouble, you guys have finally a clear line of sight to them. What do you do?
Burning hands.
What?
We throwing hands. That's what we're doing. We're throwing hands at kids. I assume you said
Same
mage
size.
hand, but I just heard a hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, we throwing hands.
I
at
said
kids.
Oh no, I said burning hands. They're on a group. I got a clear line of sight. Just get it over with.
We're tired of you. We're your parents.
Can I mage hand a smoke bomb and just like fly it up to the top of the tent?
Oh, sure.
I was gonna say, can I try to like Babe Ruth out of the park with the frying pan? Just
So they threw it in there, so it's kind of already hit the ground. So if Leaf threw it to you, though, sure.
pointing out the park.
Leaf?
Okay. I mean, I feel like the other thing's easier, but sure. Ladders up!
He mage hands the smoke bomb, kind of grabs it out. It's still leaking out smoke, but he pulls it out of the tent, tosses it towards you. Roll to hit.
14.
14 will hit. Just roll a strength check. Athletics check. You knew this was coming.
8. Yeah, I was expected just to...
You hit it, and it goes about 30 feet. The dragon punches. Crap! Get out of here! And they start to run away. What do you guys do?
I mean,
I want to waste any of my spells, but I feel like yeah. Oh yeah,
Physical
I got
violence.
one. Wait,
Burn enhancement.
do I have one? I don't have one. All right, it's up to you guys. Good luck.
thanks.
I guess I'll go after them. I mean, I feel like they've done their damage, but yeah, I'll go after them. I'm gonna run after them. They've kind of been a thorn in our side.
You begin to head after them. You know which one the leader is.
Killed everyone.
Yep. What?
They could have.
Over the fat one, he's the slowest.
They said,
The fat one. All right. You head after her.
wait a minute.
You're quicker than her. She is a child.
Obviously.
Make a grapple check.
Grapple check a child. Oh no.
Either. Well, it'd be
It's
for
athletics.
athletics. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
3.
A 3?
I'm not good at athletics.
What'd you roll?
A 3.
Oh, it's just nothing.
Yeah, she has no strength, all dex.
You run up. You try to grab her.
All dex, no flex.
I'll text the flex. You try to grab her. She nimbly breaks through your grasp. Osric, you were also chasing, yeah?
Yes, yeah. I was going for Babe, and Babe failed me.
Roll.
I'm gonna try to hit the kid. I'm just gonna.
You want to try to grab? This is. You want to try to grab him?
Yeah.
6.
6. I'm not Eldon with a plus 12
They
over
start.
here.
They're just nimbly getting away from you. Leaf. You stayed back.
I would have put it with my homies.
You run up.
I let him roll
You
solo.
run after him. Roll to grab one of the kids.
It's only athletics when you're trying to be the grappler.
Yes. Sadly. Not like it matters much for me.
It's a flat 10. It's getting better and better. That's the point.
We are the
Flat 10?
wrong. We are the wrong group to
Nothing.
be trying
They're
to
still
tackle
getting away.
somebody.
But as
where's
a
the
couple of
vector?
them get away, you feel a little rock hit your back.
Oh.
You turn. You see Cleva, the leader of the Dragon Punchers, the one who was coaxing those to bringing out the centipedes from yesterday. Dragon Punchers. And she turns to run.
Wait, she got behind me? I'm taking off. Yeah, I'm going
Take
after
off
her.
after a roll. Try to grab her.
Just spear her into the ground. Make her eat the dirt, dude. I hope she breaks a tooth.
I mean, we're getting better. That's a 7.
That was a crit. Fail.
Ah!
I thought you say she
So-
crit. I was like, wow. The kid's just.
You do
kids
run
are
up and you're able to you pick her up and you just lift her up by her arms. She's no.
Would you stop?
Okay, we have her. Feed her to me. I'm gonna cast minor illusion, and I'm gonna make my jaw grow and delve down
God.
and hit the ground.
I'll use prestidigitation to make it sound like.
Neftalia and this little girl are both looking at Leaf in absolute horror.
I'll cast prestidigitation so you hear the bones breaking as
Oh
his jaw
God!
expands.
Oh my God!
Feed-
no!
Neffy, you got her. Good job. No, feed her to me.
As
Get us straight. That's how we do it.
as you're holding her satchel off the side, as you're distracting it up from Leaf, a lot of the mischievous things that you've seen her been using, smoke bombs. She has on these gloves that seem to be special by some means. She actually seems to be decked out in a couple of neat little trinkets. And she is terrified of Leaf right now. What do you do?
Listen, I'm going to take the satchel off of her.
No!
Listen, I think this is a fair trade for the amount of terror you have caused. You have made your point. Please go home. gonna lean down into her ear. Honestly, everything you've done is hilarious. I'm just gonna kind of make this look good. I'm gonna stash this someplace else so you can get it if you promise to leave. I'll tell you where I put it if you promise to leave. Pinky promise.
Oh, breaking up the pinky promise, dude. She's serious.
Okay.
I'm gonna offer her my pinky. You know the rules, right? Inside check.
Is she gonna lie?
Is she scared about me? Can I do an insight check on that?
Yeah,
And
if
see if
she's
anybody's,
terrified,
like,
you can already
super
tell. There's no need to roll. It's obvious.
I was really happy when I thought about that. I really wanted to
12.
do it.
You think she's reluctant, but yeah.
Okay.
Put her down.
I put the satchel on me.
She begins to walk away.
Okay.
Turn back. Deal with or as you turn back to face the tall tent, you look down at her satchel. You see something familiar that you didn't expect to see. You open it up just to get a look-see on the inside, and you see 2 more smoke bombs.
I take one.
Okay.
Because honestly, that's hilarious.
You take a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Smoke bomb for you.
I could have 2 smoke bombs.
As you take that out, she has a little bit of coin in here too. 5 cops, 2 sylves, and a lek.
I'm gonna leave her money alone.
A pocket full of shiny rocks in here.
I'm gonna take one rock.
Hey!
Leaf, you have a shiny
Yes!
pink rock. A few humber nuts.
I'll bring my jaw back to normal.
Crudely whittled dragon figurine.
I'm gonna give the
Okay. You also see a dog collar, similar to the one that you saw last night.
I'm gonna grab it.
Take it. Same name.
It's tangible.
It's tangible.
Doesn't make any sense. You guys can see this, right? Hold on.
Shows that a dog
Hey,
collar.
what?
You can see it.
See what?
I don't see anything.
Really?
Yeah, you
You just have a clenched fist.
Like, just
You really can't see this dog collar.
what color? Like,
I don't see anything.
has she been seeing dogs again? Is she hearing voices and seeing dogs?
There was one last night that was definitely real, but I don't see anything now.
I'm gonna just look at Neffy and like,
Just
Oh,
head
the
nod.
2 of you are the worst.
Yeah, pick
No,
your
this dog collar that's obviously there. Is
Yeah,
it
it's actually
possible? Hear me out. I'm just gonna throw a thing out there. It's obviously her dead dog that she carries around her the collar for because she misses her dog. You saw that dog last night along with other random voices. Are you, Neffy, a necromancer?
Neffy the necromancer.
I can't even cast magic.
Necromancer
All
Neffy!
praise the necromancer.
Necro Neffy!
Oh, dude, I imagine the people in the tent are freaking out because they're seeing 2 people scream necromancer outside. Necromancer!
Well, I mean, I don't think she casts magic because she's just a little girl.
I mean,
But
I'm
you saw a
little
dog
man,
that had
I
the same
guess.
collar with the same name. Yeah, but I mean that's an age thing. It has nothing to do with it's not like magic is size dependent. It's age dependent. She's not old enough.
Oh, you meant little in that way. Okay, my bad. Sorry, I
Yeah,
thought you meant.
so-
I was like, hey, hold on. Now. She's taller than me.
So obviously, if we draw assumptions, we can assume the dog is gonzo. You know, it's just it's done. You know, right? So
What about
if the
Grandpa?
dog's gone, and you hear other things like spiders whispering to you, because that sounds evil, and then you can hear like spiders crying, and then you hear like zombies that aren't there, and then you see dogs that are obviously dead. I think you're a necromancer, and I think that's kind of cool.
You know,
I mean, that's pretty strong magic.
And
I mean, it's not good. It's bad magic, but the fact that it's really strong magic, and you would have had to study it a long time to know how to do that, and that's very impressive.
But I don't know how to do it. That's
And
the
that's
thing.
terrifying.
That's even scarier. You know, there's
No.
this
So
plan when
maybe
the protagonist
Are
could see
you-
dead people. It was crazy.
are you cursed by a necromancer? Is there a necromancer that's like saw you and she's like,
There is a necromancer near.
maybe
That's what
it's
the
like
town-
the same situation of the story we heard last night, where the king was watching the lady like take a
The
bath naked,
necromancer's watching
and then he
you.
came. Yeah, maybe the necromancer's watching you, and then
You
you're
are
his naked
interrupted
lady,
by the
and then
loudest roar from the manticore of Selvra. The show is beginning, and they're having a good time on the inside. And as the three of you
Debate.
go through this conspiracy theory quest,
We're almost there too. We would have gotten there if you hadn't
we're so
stopped us.
close. We were so close to solving the mystery.
You had to just die.
Alex doesn't want us to know the secret yet.
He was like, "Wow, these guys are actually getting terrifyingly close to the
They're getting,
truth." This
they're
is
getting too close.
Man,
I would like when we get distracted by this manticore kind of roar, can I walk to the edge of camp, and is there like a fence post or something where I can hang this satchel from, or like a low lying branch on a tree where she could easily find it if she's coming back from now?
in a moment, you'll be able
oh my God, the manticore's loose. No,
to.
Run for your life!
run for your life! I'm not fighting. Save yourself.
Throughout the
It's not my problem.
guys walking around and dealing with normal Zontis stuff. As you're enjoying kind of the tranquility of the tall tent and its antics on the inside, the show being put on, you hear a loud commotion over by the livestock pens. Yelling, punctuated by the anxious and agitated mooing from one of the troop's cows, pierces the evening air. You immediately think about the trouble the troop had with the cattle rustlers near Bebenshire a month or so ago, and you begin to head that way. You go over there, and you see Zuri, your cow that you saw earlier, in quite a predicament.
Missouri.
She is falling into a sinkhole.
Oh,
What?
What do you do?
I'm hopping in to this corner of the pen that doesn't look like it's a sinkhole.
Sorry, let me rephrase. Let me get that.
I can't say it.
When you head over to investigate, When you arrive, you find it isn't the townfolk causing trouble, nor anyone trying to take any of the troops' livestock. Instead, you find a rather strange sight. The pen with Zuri and Helna, the two of the Bluevel's milk cows, is surrounded by more than a few visitors, including some younger Hanukkahs. Pushing past them, you see an agitated Helna pacing around the edge of the corral. More concerning to you, however, is the sight of a desperate Zuri, trapped in a hole in the ground, surrounded by a pile of rubble and dirt. The cow moos anxiously. What do you guys do?
Gotcha, Zuri. Go. Just go up to her back over photo and break the rocks around so she can get her foot up.
Okay.
I'll try to assist pulling her out from the front.
Okay.
And I will attempt to calm her.
Okay. Give me a strength check.
Of course, 19.
19. You cannot do it. You are pulling her out. She is struggling. The honeycomb seems to not be working. And as you're moving the rubber around, it's not helping as much as it is causing the hole to possibly be a little bit bigger. As now both of her hooves, her back hooves, begin to sink in. As you're pulling, you hear a voice behind you as on your face, on the front of Theros
Ah,
goes
nice.
up from behind, grabs Zuri, kind of around you, almost. And then you hear Corony also. We've got you, Zuri. And she comes up to the other side, grabs Zuri's hoof, and begins to pull. And then also, Kember Rand comes up to the other side of Corony and begins to pull as well. And the three of you are able to pull her out of the hole. It only takes a few minutes to pull the cow free of the sinkhole that collapsed beneath her. From your vantage now, you can see that the hole appears to be about 5 feet deep. And as you look in, another final handout for today. Snakes begin to emerge from the sinkhole.
I saw the tracks of these things the other day.
Small, rough tunnels look to extend away in several directions from the depression that held Zuri, forming part of a larger dam. However, before you can speculate on what sort of creature dug the burrow, that question is answered for you. As a number of angry, hissing snakes emerge from each of the tunnels, the small crowd quickly disperses in a near panic. But Zuri and Helena turn on the serpents, ready to protect themselves. As a group of 8 Verdestian vipers emerge and attack you all, you have the 3 fronted to help you, along with Zuri and Helena. And we will start that next time. We pick up the continuation of Chapter 1 of the Red Star Rising campaign, The Darkest Dream. So, thank you, Traveler. We hope you had a good time here with us. And for now, we must part, but we will meet again very soon. So, thank you, Traveler, and keep moving forward. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.